Hey guys, I'm RiggyRob, and welcome back to Disco Elysium. So, last time we were able to infiltrate the communist lair, and we had a thought-provoking conversation with Stevan, and I think now we are officially a communist. But we do have other things we need to do, and the first one of those is to get back our gun. We need to confront the pigs and get our gun back. Must meet her near the old fish market at 10 o'clock and get the service weapon back. Just walk past the fishing village until you see the boardwalk. So I'm assuming that when we do this, there will be a trigger of an event of some kind, and we'll be able to get our gun back. And hoping when we get our gun back, we will also get some bullets to go with it, because we have a bullets category to pick up in our tools. But I'm not holding out much hope for that. I don't know where we would get bullets, because the pawn shop won't sell them, the police station won't give them to me, so it's going to be a find another hidden weapon cache kind of situation, I'm assuming. And then there's all these other things, so this is the get yourself organized. This is part of the communist meeting, so we need to read a brief look at Infra-Materialism. We can do that if we need to spend some time. And then the other tasks we've got still outstanding. This one for proving our authority to Titus, I think I should probably try doing this, even though I probably will fail. And then if I fail, it might trigger something else as part of the investigation. But yeah, we are still here in the communist lair, and we need to explore all these things and then go get the gun. So let's have an explore, shall we? A reflective construction vest. Okay. So +1 endurance for safety first, but -1 reaction speed, impossible to miss. A ludicrously reflective safety vest like those favored by construction and road repair crews comes with a replaceable battery pack. Battery back. Makes you feel like a deep sea anemone. I wonder if this is useful as a disguise. So what does it replace? It replaces the jacket. Okay, fair enough. I mean, the battery pack is probably something that is very handy as well. And yeah, for some reason the game is still bugging out and not showing our clothes properly. Hence why it looks like I've got noodle arms. But okay, fair enough. What's this? Coffee. This poster reads, "Under the cobblestones, communism." This one says, "No war but class war." A rickety easel surrounded by pots of gouache? Cindy's, no doubt. Try to think about the cracks spattering out across the floor. Yeah, not known to be the safest thing when you can see exposed bars and brickwork, is it? Like, we're literally on the edge of a precipice here, so. Alright, and just double check there's nothing else to say with Steban.
We're back.
Ah, point to the art supplies. I'm guessing these pots of gouache belong to Cindy.
Yeah, it's hers. She just sort of moved it all in a few months ago.
She said if she's going to make truly radical art, she needs a suitably radical workspace.
And I don't think she could afford rent at an actual studio.
You like her art? Now I'm wondering what the deal with this place is. Okay, let's move on. You like her art?
Oh, sure. It's definitely interesting, I would say.
Interesting? Isn't that just Binoclard for "I don't have a real opinion"?
Wait, I thought interesting was what people said when they don't have anything real to add. Yeah, elaborate, Steban.
His companion's eyes widen with interest. He has a cold smile. If this is what the Union man meant by theory combat, you've just scored a decisive blow.
The interesting thing about this game in particular is because there is, of course, no actual combat as in active, but you make decisions and you have the dice rolls. So that is essentially the closest we are going to get to combat, is trying to trade blows in terms of dialogue options.
Come on. It's not that I don't have anything to say about Cindy's art. It's more that I'm still working out the details. It's a complex question. You've got to take your time with it. I guess you could call her latest stuff a sort of counter-bourgeoisie calligraphy. She's got a real taste for radical slogans.
It's too bad she hasn't developed the theoretical foundation to do truly radical work.
Sounds kind of condescending, because I don't see you doing anything like Cindy as Echo Maker.
I think she'll get there, though. She's still looking for a subject equal to her ambitions.
Now I'm wondering, what's the deal with this place?
The deal? At a fundamental level, I guess you could call it the shattered bones of a dream crushed by capital.
That's really good, Steban. You should save that for an essay.
Thanks, Uli. When the idea is sound, the words just sort of flow.
Yes, now keep developing the idea.
If this place is the shattered bones, then we must make us the bone weevils.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I'll admit, I don't really know what a weevil is.
Not as good as Steban's original idea, though.
Okay. Alright, let's move on.
Go ahead.
So he gives a half smile, his companion sniffs, and that's it. Alright, I think we're all done here, so let's go and get our gun. I should point out, I am probably never going to play this game again, which is why we are trying to explore all of the dialogue options and see pretty much everything that this game has to offer in a single playthrough, because, you know, like I said, chances are I'm not going to play it again, which is why I'm taking my time with it and seeing what this world has to offer. And that's kind of like the whole point, is that what the developers of this game has made they've made an interesting world to explore. Like, what's this?
The headless found rider. He could appear at any minute.
I suppose.
Please tell me we are not here to look for a headless man in a tracksuit riding a horse. Because there's no such thing.
I guess not.
Don't listen to the lieutenant. He doesn't know anything.
How would you know? We'll just wait and see. Yeah, you're right. Would have been cool though, don't you think? No, we're just passing through. Absolutely not. That's why we're here. Why would you even think that? Okay, so this is, you know, what does Kim think of it? This is, I'm going to acknowledge that you are probably right, but I'm also not going to give up on the thought. This is, yeah, come on. Yeah, it would have been cool, Kim, right? This is just explaining that we're actually passing through, and this is like going on the offensive to Kim to say, why would you think that? Like, but how would you know, Kim?
No one's actually seen the headless phone rider because he doesn't exist. He's an urban legend. A legend, meaning a story that's not real.
Yeah, but you have to say, you know, Idiot Doom Spiral does tell interesting stories. You're right, it would have been cool though, don't you think?
Yes, it would have been very cool. Now let's get some rest.
No, we need to get our gun. But to be fair, because I have the fishing shack as my accommodation, I need to head in this direction anyway. It's interesting, the game says that around 9 o'clock is when you can go to sleep and heal all your health and morale. And then by, what? Is it by 2 o'clock everyone's asleep? But I would have expected people to be asleep kind of before 2 o'clock, because 2 o'clock is quite late for people to go to sleep for the night. Yeah? Okay, so there's the telephone where we ruined someone's relationship. Does this count as the boardwalk? Don't see anyone yet. No, there's no one here. Alright, let's check that task again. Walk past the fishing village until you see the boardwalk. Okay. That's kind of vague. I guess we'll just have to explore around. But yeah, like I was saying, the developers of the game has made an interesting world, and they've made it... They've obviously made parallels with the real world, so Mazovian socioeconomics is basically communism, and then there's the, you know, the capitalist kind of plant of thinking, and, you know, they're all hyper-exaggerated versions of them, which, you know, when you're doing like a satire kind of parody of those political ideologies, that makes sense, right? Because, you know, I could have gone this way anyway. Yeah, you make them overblown because it's like, yeah, I kind of agree with this, but I don't want to take it to the extreme. Well, the game is trying to, you know, provoke some thought and make you think about what is the end conclusion of the ideology you align with. But then there's also just actually interesting, almost science fiction tropes about this, you know. The 2mm hole in the world, for example. That's like an interesting thing of, you know, an area of complete silence. Also, I'm just noticing there's kind of a bug with the darkness here, where it's got like jagged edges, almost like triangles, and it's getting revealed when I've got the torch out. Huh. That's a bit weird. But yeah, you know, it makes sense to explore as much of this world as it can because, you know, they put a lot of effort into making it. Right. People paid money to park here. No one paid now. Okay, is that it? Alright, well I guess this doesn't count as the boardwalk. So, yeah. Alright, well, back we go. So yeah, the 2mm hole in the world, the pale that, you know, is the gaps of non-existence in between the Asolas. Like, those are all really interesting concepts, and like I said, it's almost science fiction in a way. And I like science fiction quite a lot. So that kind of stuff resonates with me anyway. I'm hoping it's not you have a time limit of between 10 and 12 to try and get your gun back, because that would be kind of annoying. One thing I will say about this game is the unknowable lockout points. So this might be one. I don't know until I've actually, you know, explored fully, but the other one was the soft lock that we could have had, where we didn't have enough money to pay the hotel room for the night, and if you had not, you know, sold some things to make money for that, you would just be stuck outright, you know? And the example of that, I believe the answer to it, at least answered on the Steam forum, was, yeah, you should reload a save. It's like, no, you shouldn't cause a soft lockout, cause a hard ending, yeah, like you can say, yeah, the penniless detective decided to, you know, sleep in the trash container, and that causes an ending, right? So then that causes a reset, but you get an ending out of it. There's like a finality to it, where it's a soft lock, it's like, well, I'm just wandering around, I can't do anything, so it doesn't... Not as satisfying, I guess. You must meet her near the old fish market at 10. Okay. Walk past the fishing village to use the boardwalk. So because it says at 10, not after 10, that might mean I am locked out of being able to get my gun back right now. Fair enough. Let's go on to another day. I'll get my gun back tomorrow. So let's go ahead and make a save before we commit to progressing the day. As again, I said, I don't know how many days this game takes to complete. There's a bit of a weird parallel with Ace Attorney, where in Ace Attorney, each case usually takes 1 to 3 days. So you have the initial cases, the tutorial, which have case 1 as a tutorial, it's done in 1 day. Then the middle cases take a couple of days, where you have a day of investigation and then a day with the court. And then the final cases have like it takes 3 days to get all the twists and turns out of the case and do the full investigation. But here we're on day 4, so I don't know how many days it will actually take to get everything.
It's getting late,
Right.
and it's snowing. Time to call it a day.
Good night, Kim.
Good night, officer. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
And to the shack. And I did just realize I don't actually have the money to stay in the Willingy Rags anyway. So let's go to sleep.
The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest.
Go to sleep.
The bed underneath you is soft, if lumpy. Waves wash the sand underneath the hut, then grow distant to your ear. In the quiet hum of the organic heater, you fall asleep.
Like a deftly cast fishing net, sleep pulls you out of the world and into its dark shore. The rough mesh chafes, tightening around you, it digs into your brain.
Great, this is going to be really chill. Dark shore my ass, I know what this is. Yeah, just let me sleep. I feel like I would probably be like, yeah, just let me sleep. But I know limbic system is not going to let me sleep. So I'm going to say, dark shore my ass, I know what this is. And he'll probably say, no you don't.
How have things been going for you out there? Helped anyone lately? Saved anyone lately? Murdered anyone lately?
No, I have not.
This bastard isn't even listening to you.
Yeah, limbic system decided to let reptilian brain take the reins.
Because you know you are a murderer. A disco music listening psycho killer who offs poor people and then forgets about it.
I don't care, that doesn't scare me. Okay, so I'm a murderer and that's bad. Shut up, I just want to sleep. Okay, so one of the 3 key people I have killed must be someone who's poor, and Reptilian Brain is correct. I have forgotten about those events. But yeah, that doesn't scare me.
Hear that? You are naive to think he's afraid of his bloodied hands. Soul brother. Oh no. I see inside his amygdala and his hippocampus. The thing he's really scared of
Ooh, are we going to get some deeper insight? Go on, the mix system.
is much, much worse than that.
Oh yeah, so he's not going to say it. Okay. What is it? Why are you doing this? I just want to sleep. I can almost see the dark. Go on, tell us what it is.
Don't tell him, sister. It's too bad.
So they're not going to tell me at all.
They're right. This is their function. To keep you from it.
Then why let me know about it? Why are you doing this? I just want to sleep. I can almost see the dark.
We're trying to help you. All these processes, these tortures, voices and tremors are all just distractions, flares and countermeasures to keep you from the last dream. The worst of them all.
The last dream?
The last dream will be total annihilation. Cinders peeling off the fuselage. We won't be there to help you anymore, Harry. We will be dormant. You will be naked and alone.
And the air will smell of apricots. Her face forms in summertime. I don't want to anymore. I don't want to think either one of those things. I feel like her face forms in summertime is more poetic, so let's go with that.
In hell, an ancient sadness, brother. 10,000 years later, in front of the video rental, there is a warm breath on your face again. Everything is okay again.
Everything is so okay.
Does it sound like it'll be okay? I can't wait. I can't wait. I mean, if this said I can't wait once, I think I'd probably be inclined to choose that as an option. But I think the reality is limbic system and reptilian brain say it doesn't sound like it's going to be okay.
Your eyelids flutter open for a moment. When you close them again, you sense the light of the room around you. You're back. In 2 seconds, the alarm will ring.
The last thought in your head before waking is, maybe you shouldn't have seen that stained glass window in the church.
Open your eyes. Okay, we have healed all of our health back, and we are ready to face the day. It's 7:30 once more. Shake it off, Harry. Come on. Off we go. I'm hoping Kim's got some like updates for us, because otherwise it's going to take a long time to get to 10 o'clock to get the gun back.
Yes?
No, nothing. Okay. Right. So then, we are time limited on getting our gun back. Making the jam harder core needs a tape for a melody for Egghead. And, alright, I guess we've got some time to kill. So let's have a brief look at Infra-Materialism. So, it is the new book. A concise introduction to Infra-Materialist theory intended for a general audience. You can tell this particular copy spent a lot of time in someone's back pocket.
The cover of this pocket-sized volume features a swirl of orange, yellow, and green. The title, A Brief Look at Infra-Materialism, is set in an authoritative yet approachable serif font. What an interesting color palette. It's vibrant, yet somehow leaves you ever so slightly nauseated. On the inside jacket flap, you find a brief summary. What is Infra-Materialism? A highly theoretical branch of Mazovian communism? A collection of mystical ramblings by a discredited revolutionary? Or possibly both? This brief look, TM, introduces readers to one of this century's most fascinating and misunderstood theories in a concise, jargon-free manner.
So far, so good. This feels like kid stuff. Is there no slightly longer glance TM series? No, so far, so good.
You turn to the table of contents. The guide itself is divided into several sections with seemingly esoteric titles like Effects of Plasm on Root Vegetables and Mental Projection and Transference. There's also a brief introduction about the life of Ignis Nielsen.
Read the introduction of Ignis Nielsen.
Known to his numerous admirers as the evangelist of the revolution, and to his even more numerous enemies as the apocalyptic Shrike, Ignis Nielsen remains one of the most controversial and fascinating figures to emerge in the years of the anti-centennial revolution, second only to Krasmazov himself.
Apocalyptic Shrike is one hell of a title to have.
During his unparalleled life, he helped guide a revolution in one country and found a new state in another. Along the way, he committed some of the most notorious war crimes in an era famed for its atrocities.
I see. So he earned the nickname.
And yet, his most fascinating contribution to history may be the most overlooked. His theory of ideological plasm, from which his followers and successors developed the school of communism known as Infra-Materialism.
Start reading the first chapter.
If you're like most people, you probably believe that your thoughts reside in your brain, right?
Sure.
Completely backwards. You think with your hands. Always have.
Okay, so interfacing is butting in. Right. I'm more of a tactile guy. I let my fingers guide me. Honestly, I have no idea where some of these thoughts come from. I actually am going to say this one because, yes, I honestly have no idea where the thoughts come from. Because Inland Empire and Shivers are not in my head. They are not related to me. So yes, I have no idea where some of these thoughts come from.
This sounds more like a question for a psychiatrist. See also a brief look at psychiatry. But let's stick with Ignis Nielsen a moment. As Mazov's devoted comrade and leading theoretician, Nielsen was responsible for developing much of the intellectual foundation of communism. But his interests and speculations were famously wide-ranging. During his final years in exile, he produced, among other things, an early guide to home brewing, instructions for raising revolutionary children, plans for a universal pictographic language, and a detailed materialist critique of Dolores Day's chess strategy. A true man of ideas, equal to any of the great DeLorean polymaths. But one subject he returned to time and time again was the fundamental relationship between thoughts and matter.
Okay, we're going to have a everything has memories kind of thing, like a chair that's been sat in by multiple people will have a residue of the person that sat in it?
We may yet discover, he wrote in his notebooks, that under certain exceptional circumstances, the proletariat's embrace of historical materialism may be so fervent that their beliefs take form in the world of matter as a kind of revolutionary plasm.
Yeah, so they have a tangible presence. Hold on, can you put that in slightly more basic terms? Whoa. Oh, okay. Let's see if we can get a bit more of a dumbed-down explanation.
Certainly. In essence, Nielsen is arguing that thoughts don't just reside inside the brain, they radiate outward from it. According to this idea, the brain is an ideological transponder, constantly emitting waves of highly politicized energy, which Nielsen called plasm.
Which kind of ties in with the idea of perception being able to sniff out a communist, you know? If their thoughts are radiating from them and they are, again, having a tangible effect of, well, this is waves of energy, but, you know, an actual smell, then, yeah, I guess it makes sense in this universe that you can identify things external to the person itself. Whoa.
Whoa is right. What's more, Nielsen speculated that this plasm, when it becomes powerful enough, might begin to influence the material reality surrounding it. Hence the name, Infra-Materialism. Unfortunately, Nielsen passed away before he was able to develop these initial ideas into a full-fledged theory. That work was left to subsequent generations of communist theorists.
Yeah, and that's the problem, isn't it? Like, if someone passes away, their interpretation of their own idea can get twisted and, you know, mangled. You just have to look at, well, an obvious one is when someone is writing a book series and they die before finishing it, they're left to have someone else finish the story for them, and you have no idea whether the ending that the author that was hired to replace them would come up with, you know? So Berserk is a good example. Kentaro Miura has died and passed away, and I don't know whether there's going to be a, you know, interpreted ending from what he had in terms of his notes. There might not even be any notes, but yeah, the ending that Miura had in mind is probably not going to be the same as the people trying to finish off the series of Berserk. And another example is George R.R. Martin. He currently has not finished the Game of Thrones series, A Song of Ice and Fire, and he's in relatively poor health, so many people are thinking that, you know, he's probably going to pass away and it's going to be left to someone else to actually finish the series. So, yeah, there's problems with this.
Building on Nielsen's basic insight, these theorists reached a startling conclusion that a sufficiently revolutionary state might begin to exhibit certain extra-physical effects based on the amount of plasm generated by its citizens.
Wait, so this isn't even Nielsen's theory, it's his followers? This doesn't make any sense. I'm completely lost. So if these people are saying that if enough people just believe in communism, it will come true. So it's, what is it? The 40k space orcs, if they think something works, even though it doesn't actually work according to the laws of physics, it still works. Like painting their spaceships red makes make them go faster because red is fast. I can kind of see that. So it's not even his theory.
Correct, though certain particulars of the theory are commonly attributed to Nielsen himself. The evidentiary basis of those attributions has always been a point of contention between infra-materialists and their critics.
So if enough people believe in communism, it will come true?
The actual theory is highly technical, but for the purposes of this brief look, TM, that's a fine working definition of the concept.
Alright.
That's because this is absolute idiocy, not even worth engaging with.
That was an easy logic check, so logic clearly does not agree with this. Alright, let's hear about this extra physical stuff.
Infra-materialists divide the extra-physical effects of the revolutionary state by the level of plasm required to achieve them. At the lowest, or first level, revolutionary plasm is believed to stimulate or invigorate matter without altering its essential properties.
This sounds like the business with the turnips. How exactly does the plasm stimulate matter? How does it stimulate matter?
To take one example, during the revolutionary period, many communard farmers in Grad reported extraordinary yields of certain root vegetables, most notably turnips. The difference in these yields was simply too great to be accounted for by mere climate or soil conditions. The only reasonable explanation, infra-materialists argue, is the high level of revolutionary plasm emanating from the commune itself.
I mean, if there is no other explanation for greater than usual yields, then sure, why not have this as a theory to fill in the gap?
Even today, in parts of the SRV, there are collective farms whose root vegetable yields exceed those thought possible by capitalist agronomists. Who's to say the farmers aren't just cooking the books? Sounds like obvious SRV propaganda.
Well, that is an easy explanation, but if there is actual physical evidence of there being more, you know, crops grown, then where do those crops come from?
It's also been postulated that plasm may account for the remarkably full and manly facial hair observed on many communist males.
Stroke your beard proudly, stroke it, but modestly.